I think the best way to explain this video is what I would do if I had a restaurant. It doesn't quite make sense. It's funky, it's creative, and we're just kind of rolling with it and figuring it out. Because one thing that happens a lot to me is when people find out that I cook, they always ask me, "What's your favorite thing to cook?" Which I think is a actually boku bonkers terrible question to ask chefs or people who work in the food industry, because we all kind of roll our eyes at that question. Because do you actually have like one favorite dish to cook? Most likely no. So I feel like what you really think of are, what's your favorite cuisines, what's your favorite ingredients? And my answer every time someone asks me this is pasta. I love cooking Italian food. I love cooking pasta. Pasta kind of feels like a signature to me at this point. And so I thought, what better thing to do than to make an entire pasta tasting menu? Now, that became a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. So, we turned this into an almost all pasta tasting menu. It's super fun and creative ways to do a bunch of pasta rather than like the traditional Italian tasting menu where you'll do like an antipasta and you'll do a regular pasta course and then a meat course and all of that. I thought, I don't really care. I'm just going to do what I want, get creative, and show you all that I got some skills up my sleeves. We're going to flex on y'all a little bit, get out the precision, break out some of the tools, put some time into a meal, and make something really beautiful and special. So let's do it. We're getting mad serious with the apron today. My mommy got me this apron. And realistically, it's because every time I wear a white shirt, you know what happens. It's just also nice to have even more pockets. Okay, we have a actually incredibly massive game plan. There are so many parts to this, but everything will have its moment. Everything will shine as it needs to. It's going to be messy, crazy, so many things. We have fun drink to get us through it, and we have iPad to tell us the plan. I'm going to be making 5 different kinds of pasta, but most of it can come from one ball of egg pasta. I've been reading up a lot about pasta recently. Apparently, there is some hot discourse about making pasta all the time. I'm never going to win, okay? I'm never going to win, and that's fine. We're not here to win. We're here to be good. We're here to be great, actually, okay? But we're not here to win. So today I'm going to try a little bit different of a recipe that I got from a new Italian cookbook. I think it's going to be good. It's just a different ratio of semolina to white all-purpose flour, and I think that's kind of what the vibe is. This wants you to put it in the food processor. I'm still not doing that. I just feel like you got to touch it with your hands and do the thing. And it says it only needs to rest for 10 minutes with this dough. I'm used to making mine sit in the fridge for a little longer. So I think we're kind of going to make it and come back to it. Like, we will make the dough, we will put it in the fridge if we need to, or we might just let it sit out on the counter and see where we go, because we have a lot of fillings and sauces and other things to make with this process. It's very labor intense today because that's how we build flavor. We are getting into the nitty gritty of it today. Let's do it. Now that our pasta dough is ready, we got to start working on these fillings. So there are 1 sauce, 2 sauces, 3 stuffings, and a meatball. And the thing is that in order to get the most flavor out of a lot of these things, the best way to do that is going to be roasting them, because roasting things allows them to take the time to really release the flavors that are inside. So a lot of this stuff we're going to be chopping up, putting on different sheet pans, and roasting in the oven at about 400 degrees Fahrenheit. While I do that, I'm going to start mixing up the stuff for my meatballs. And this works out sort of because the premise is that each individual pasta has its own kind of highlight staple, but some of these ingredients we need for multiple things. Like I have mild Italian sausages, ground beef, we have my homemade veg broth. All of the vegetables are going to be their own highlight though. I'm so excited though. You're not even ready. It's so good. So for the corn, this is the summer thing that I think about all the time. Corn and tomatoes are kind of like my 2 favorite summer vegetables, if you can even call corn a vegetable. But there are a ton of ways to really extract the maximum amount of flavor out of an ear of corn. So what we're going to do today to make sure all of this corn flavor can really shine is the first thing I'm going to do is put them into a pot of boiling water, and I'm just going to kind of blanch them. It's going to be a little bit longer than a blanch, but not enough to fully cook them. And the water just has a little bit of salt and a little bit of sugar in it. So we're going to do the first cook there. Then I am going to put these under the broiler in the oven and get them nice and roasty, because every vegetable we have here is going to benefit from being roasted. Roasting vegetables or grilling them and getting the really high heat is what allows the Maillard reaction to happen, and that is what caramelizes the natural sugars in fruits and vegetables. Super delicious, but by doing this, we almost give it like a twice over way to extract as much flavor out of these as possible, and that's what we want. Okay, I thought now, while there's an actual metric ton of things going on, would be the perfect time for us to make meatballs. Also because I already have my rings off, so it works perfectly. So, I do mine half beef, half pork. So I always do half sausage, half ground beef, which could be spicy sausage, it could be mild. These sausages are mild Italian sausages, and I'm gonna be real with y'all. I make it different every single time. I think that the idea in my head is always the same. I think by making it work with whatever you have. That's the ideal meatball situation, and it just always turns out delicious. And that's the main goal here. So I am going to remove the casing. That way I basically just have ground sausage to deal with. Everything smells amazing in here. There's so much stuff like cooking and roasting and frying, and oh my god. You want to know why people are so nostalgic for their Nona's kitchen or their mom's cooking? It's because there's nothing better than the smell of things getting nice and roasty toasty. It's just so delicious. The corn's about to come out. I left it in this hot water for 5 minutes, and then I'm just immediately going to pull them and put them onto a roasting pan. And I want these to dry out. Now, corn already has moisture in it, but because we put it in the water, we want to try to get some of that extra water that we added into it out. So that way when I put these under the broiler, they will actually get nice and caramelized and not just steam. Egg. Maybe, I think we're actually going to need 2. If you can't get eggs from your farmer's market, or they're like mad expensive from your farmer's market, I think you should get them from Vital Farms. That's my opinion. Salt. Now we need breadcrumbs. Now here's the thing. Normally, I like to put panko. If I don't have panko, I will do crackers. I like to do panko and regular style because I think it gives it a nice textural variation. So this is another thing I like to do, is just use up any type of like hosting cracker I have on hand. You should always keep like a box of crackers on hand for the emergency dipping situation that will inevitably ensue in your life. This is just another good, it adds a nice texture. Crackers, especially the ones from these Trader Joe's or a lot of stores, like assorted party crackers, they always have ones that just soak up the extra fat from a meatball so well. I think they just add great texture. Garlic powder, onion powder, Italian seasoning. I also really love I love, especially in the fall when I keep more caramelized onions kind of on hand, adding caramelized onions to my meatballs. So good. Okay, now we could mix here, but it is peak basil season right now, and I can get these massive bundles of basil at my farmer's market for like mad cheap. So we're going to put a bunch of chopped fresh basil in this and really make it shine and add that nice bright earthy flavor to go alongside and cut through a lot of that meatiness. And we need to add one little thing to this to help with that as well. Oh my god, we almost forgot so many things. I got so sidetracked. But I also added in some parsley because we have that. But we cannot forget, we're going to add in some Parmesan cheese. I stand by the fact that the best Parmesan cheese comes from your microplane. There's no better way to shred Parmesan cheese. What was the last thing I almost... Oh, you're going to feel like this really is coming out of left field, but I promise you it's not. Just a touch of lemon zest. Instead of doing some other type of acid, this will just help cut through all the fattiness. This is so dense right now. Just needs a little something to kick it up. When I was a child and my mom would make meatballs, I would ask her if I don't even think it was meatballs. I think it was when she would make meatloaf, because I don't remember my mom ever making meatballs like this. That doesn't mean she didn't. It just means I don't remember it. But I remember I used to really enjoy the feeling of putting my hands and like mushing everything together like this. I still do. It feels nice. I don't know. It's mushy. You're getting the 4D experience, you know? It's like you're really here, and I'm telling you what it's like to be elbow deep in this ground beef. Why does that look so insanely good? Wow. Who can take me? Here, I'm not going to eat it, but it smells good. It did touch my lip. Don't talk about it. Okay, let's keep chugging along. One of the most beautiful things about making meatballs is they freeze incredibly. What's today? What's today's date? And because we're making small bites, I can keep this much to plate up for what we need, and the rest of these can go into the little Ziploc bag in the freezer. And then they can just be roasted in the oven whenever it's their time, whenever that's part of their journey. Today is not their day. You could also pan sear these and then freeze them. I don't really ever see a difference with that, besides it actually becomes a little more time consuming, because then I have to cook them, wait for them to cool again, just to then refreeze them. So that's not my personal favorite, just from a time constraint view. Now you have meatballs for the freezer. The same way with the corn having too much water in it, that's exactly the same issue we're going to run into with the squash. So what we're going to do is try and cook it out of it. So all I'm going to do is lightly cook this in a little bit of oil and some salt. And then if I can get everything really brown and there's still a lot of water in it, we'll just squeeze out that last little bit of excess. Can you believe we're actually almost to the fun part? That's so exciting. I am just using my homemade veggie broth to caramelize these leeks. These are going to be like a leek sauce for the gnocchi. And now we are going to start working on creating the fillings for our stuffed pastas, so that way they can just immediately go with our pasta once we sheet it, because that is our next step. So the tomatoes are for tomato sauce. That is going to be blended. Same here with this leek situation, but the squash and the peppers and onions are going to become fillings. So the same thing with the corn. So let's kind of shift things around so we can see our whole situation. And that's it. My dream tasting menu, 6 courses, 0 rules, made entirely right here in my very not Michelin-star kitchen. And honestly, I think this is one of my favorite things I've ever made. And if you love this menu as much as I loved making it, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more. Thank you as always for joining me at the table, and hopefully I will see you at the table again soon. Bye!